This is inverted vitrectomy. Recurrent epiretinal membrane and new peeling after brilliant blue staining and sparing the internal limiting membrane. This is the patient's right eye, not elective for a surgery, longstanding retinal detachment. The left eye had this epiretinal membrane with distortion of the foveal depression, 20/60 best corrected visual acuity. This patient had 2 surgeries. The patient is pseudophakic.
This is a 23-gauge pars plana vitrectomy.
That was the first surgery. The hyaloid was not detached, and the patient had a dense hyaloid asteritis. So after vitrectomy, air fluid exchange, and brilliant blue injection, we could well observe this epiretinal membrane reflex off the retina using a high-power macular lens. With a 23-gauge ILM forceps, we grabbed the epiretinal tissue and removed it, unblocked, unveiling the macular surface. The patient eventually reached 20/50 to 20/45, but got worse after 6 months from the surgery. 7 months later, the vision had dropped to 20/80, and after the patient was diagnosed with a recurrent epiretinal membrane, he was set for another vitrectomy. We have this great macular lens veil from the posterior pole, preparing already an air fluid exchange AFX, cause there was not much vitreous work. A complete AFX was carried out. Brilliant blue was then injected on the macula. We decided to use a 25-gauge ILM forceps to start working in the macular surface. This was a very tiny one because the membrane was not that thick, as it was primarily removed in the first procedure. This one was not easy to remove, so a shaving strategy was created to sort of pass over the mac surface, with the forceps being extra careful not to go any deep. The contrast between the stained internal limiting membrane and the stained edges of the epiretinal tissue at their interwoven junction made it possible to apply that shaving maneuver. Some ILM areas were not so well stained due to probably astrocyte and Miller cell proliferation at the interface, covering the ILM irregularly. Still, it was possible to well visualize all the magnified area, and the contact lens made it pretty clear associated with the correct zoom option. We are here rubbing lightly on the surface in an attempt to find the epiretinal tissue. We finally found a parallel plane on the retinal surface, but it took a while before we could actually reach the epiretinal tissue and grab it, removing it from the central macular area without any harm. The epiretinal tissue was then grabbed, and with horizontal parallel action it was detached. We call this a kind of flex sign because the illumination towards the membrane from the light pipe displayed a shadow on the retina, trembling like a flag. We got to the conclusion that less is more, and as the epiretinal tissue was removed, we ended up with a clear surface freed from any interface traction or unwanted material. A very good look at the macula with good magnification showed it free of any epiretinal tissue after the shave and peel maneuvers. The smaller gauge of the ILM tip really makes a difference. Endolaser was the next step then, so as to protect retinal periphery. Another AFX is performed by the end of the procedure. That's about it. We do appreciate your attention.